Right, everyone, welcome back. We've got our first real estate guest on today, so it's going to be a good one. Troy Kearns, welcome to the channel. Just to get started, could you tell everyone a little bit about you?
So I'll give you my age first and tell you where I'm from and what I do. So I'm 43 years old. I've been investing in real estate since I was, well, that would be in 2000, since I was 22. So like, but now it's been about 19 years. We're going to put it that way, right? But the last 10 has been the most important because really I didn't know what I was doing for the first bit. So I own about 350 different rental units. Most of them are single family houses, and most of them are in Mississippi and Kansas City and in other small markets like that. So I started with nothing, and I'm pretty good at real estate. So I can help a lot of people who are beginning to, who have aspirations to learn about real estate if they're young. I was 17, 18, 15 at once, and I had the same aspirations I do today.
That's brilliant, honestly. Free and over that, mind blowing. But is real estate your full-time job, or have you set that up now so that it's almost like on the side because you've set it up and now you just took a back seat, or is it something you're actively in?
And basically it means that
Don't know if the audio's cut out, Troy. I can't hear you. Can you hear me? I don't know why it's not working on for you. Oh, yeah, it's coming back. I think I can hear you now. Yeah, I can hear you now. All right, let's crack straight back on.
To refresh.
Right, everyone, just skip to when it comes back. Sorry about this.
Are you good?
Yeah, right. Let's crack straight back on.
All right. So
actively, or is it more of a side thing now?
Well, I'm active in real estate because it's what I enjoy doing. I'm just buying bigger stuff now. Like I'm looking at a hotel here. I just bought a 31 unit apartment complex in Kansas City. I'm looking at a hotel I'm possibly going to buy. I'm looking at the old Western Union building built in like the 1800s to buy. Yeah. And the reason is because now I'm at a point in my career where I borrow more, right?
Yeah.
And I have more knowledge, right? So I understand how to use historical tax credits. I know how to use like other types of financing where there's free money, where most guys, when you start, you don't know where the free money is. So there's a lot of free money in the US. I know you're in the UK, but there's a lot of free money for in the United States in places that have historical tax credits. What they'll allow you to do is fix a property, and basically, essentially, whatever you spend on the inside, you're going to get 45% of that back through federal and state tax credits if you do it properly.
Yeah. So is that what you do full time then, real estate? Do you have a job, or would you say that?
No, I do not have a job. Yeah, so I don't work for anybody. Yeah. I'm an employer, not an employee. And so I have several different businesses. I own a tow truck business. I'm getting ready to sell that business actually to my general manager. It's not a good business for me. I'm starting, you probably found me, I'm starting a new educational platform called the Troy Kearns channel, where we're going to be educating new real estate investors, so they don't have to make the same mistakes that I made. They can learn from them. I mean, they're still going to make mistakes, but they can, lessen the amount of mistakes that they make.
Everyone go check that out, by the way. I'll leave you a link in the description. what your YouTube channel. So I'll send everyone over there after we're finished. But the next question is, when did you get into real estate, and how old were you at the time?
All right, so I knew that I wanted to be rich, right? So I started in the stock market, and I started investing in the stock market when I was 17. Started putting money away, and then with real estate, what happened was I knew I needed to buy a house. That was a good idea, right? I didn't know anything other than that's a good idea, right? Buy a house. So I bought a condo. I bought a condo when I was making $8 an hour, right? That's all I could afford. So I bought the condo. That was my first rental. And I bought that condo when I was, I think, 23, 24-ish, okay? And so
were you saving money in that time from 18 to 24, like saving so you could afford this?
I've been a disciplined saver since I was probably 14 or 15 years old.
Well, obviously has its benefits, and it pays off, doesn't it? It may not seem like the best thing in now, but in the long term, it has huge benefits.
I always thought it was a good idea. I understood it from, like, my dad taught it to me when I was a young guy. My son gets it right now. Like, he loves putting his money away and seeing it grow. Like, you know, it's nice to see it grow versus see it go away, right? So
yeah, I think a lot of people don't understand, because they obviously want everything now. Whereas if you invested it the correct way, it grows. Then you get more benefits, like buying real estate and things like that.
Well, let me tell you, I'm going to show you something real quick, a good visual aid. So this house right here that I'm in, I bought to flip. I bought to flip in Kansas City. Now I'm living in it because we're building a house out here. But I want to talk about, like, all the exit strategies that this one allows me right here, right? So this house I bought as a flip, right? So I got $100,000 profit in it right now. I could Airbnb it out for $600 a night. I could long-term rental it out probably for $3,500. But if you understand what you just talked about, this truck right here, that's a $100,000 truck, okay? I don't say that to brag. I'm saying it. That's the first brand new vehicle I ever bought. I bought it when I was 40 years old, but my real estate pays for it. I don't pay for it. Like, and that was a big shift in my head, because I would have paid for cash with that, because I just don't like to have debt. But paying cash for the real estate and having no debt on the real estate, but having debt on the vehicle is a better business decision. Because this vehicle, I could write off 100% of it through bonus depreciation as a loss against my income in real estate. If that makes any sense.
It makes a lot of sense. I listen to people like Grant Cardone, which I'm sure you've heard of. He always says he buys things from his, like, passive income. So what his investments make, that's what he buys. And I think what you've just explained.
Yeah, you want to buy stuff. That's the problem that most people have when they start investing in the stock market. They're like, well, I'm making money. Okay, if you're making money, where is it? Right? Yeah. Where is it? In your hands? Is it coming to your, is it going to your mailbox, or is it in just a piece of paper that you're watching going around? It's not actually doing anything for you. It's just going up, it's going down. And if you sell it at the right time, then you make money. But with real estate, you're making money all the time, and you're building an investment portfolio, and you're paying down debt, and it pays for other things. So
do you, anything you buy in your day-to-day life, is that from your real estate rent and things like that? So you don't spend more than what your real estate makes you?
Yeah, I have so much income, so much passive income right now, probably almost $200,000 a month in passive income, so that I just continue to reinvest. I'm always buying. I'm always broke, because I still think I'm broke in my head, you know? So, you know,
that's obviously a great mentality to have, and I'm sure that doesn't come overnight. And would you say my wife process?
My wife. Sorry to cut you off, Harvey.
No.
You're saying that, like, it's like I'm just realizing I'm broke. Like, I have money. Like, I've had it for a while, but I'm just actually realizing. Like, the other day, we're driving across country from Las Vegas to Kansas City, and we stop at, like, a hotel, just some Best Western, and my son's eating some food in the room, and I have a bite, and I'm like, oh, this is really good. And my wife's like, it's like just one of those microwavable macaroni and cheeses. And I'm like, where'd you get it? And my wife's like, at the front of the hotel. I'm like, well, how much was it? She's like, I don't know. you know, and I'm like, I'm still, she's like, what does it matter? Even if it was $20, you can afford it.
Just a different mindset, isn't it? Yeah, mindset. So I was going to ask something else, but you know, when you started and then you got this first condo, and obviously the money you saved up and put into this condo, was that all the money you had? And then, yeah, just quick, was that all the money you had at the time, or did you still have money saved after you put the down payment and done whatever you did?
I think it was most of the money I had. I don't know.
Did you refinance it?
I did not. I did refinance it, but I wouldn't suggest doing that.
Yeah. So once you bought this condo, what's the next step from there? So say for me, I save until I'm 21, get to buy my first rental, put all my money into that. Then how do I then move on to the next one? Do I have to save for another 4 years, or? So
the first thing that you need to understand is, if I started the way I do today, then I wouldn't have done that same mistake. So if I was you and I was trying to start, which I think is what you're asking, what I would say is, especially if you're UK, I really want to invest in the UK. I'm a big London fan. That's why I was like, I'm going to interview with this guy. I love guys from the UK. I just like your accents are so great, you know, and I'm sure ours as well.
I didn't even feel like I've got an accent.
I know, it's the same thing. I don't feel like it either. But if you can find stuff that you can buy under value, right? Just like buying an iPhone for $100, right? You can find a house, or you can find a situation where you can put a little bit of your time in, or even no time and money in, and you just buy it, right? Is the best situation, right? Then it makes sense to refi, because then you could put cash in your pocket, right? To just get a lower rate and refi, you're just stretching out the term of your loan, right? So if you might reduce the payment a little bit, but you're really not paying down debt, and you're really adding more debt to what you have because of the closing costs, because of all that stuff. So if I was a new investor, what I would do is I would obviously subscribe to my channel, right? But I would follow other guys like me, somebody that they identify with. It doesn't have to be me. I would find somebody who's had success, somebody that it makes sense to them, and I would focus on trying to buy deals and wholesale deals first. Like if I was your age, I would be wholesaling, right? Which is basically you're a deal finder, right? Because that's what I started doing, and I'm still a really good deal finder. Then if you're trying to make money to put in your pocket, you would want to refi that, put money in your pocket, put a renter in there, so the renter's paying for the mortgage,
and then just repeat. Would you then repeat, or?
I would repeat, but I have like a different formula, right? My formula is try to buy houses that are cheap in areas that are cheap. And if the reason is, what part of the UK are you from?
It's called Leicester. I'm pretty sure you've not heard of it. It's a couple of hours out of London.
Well, my bookkeeper of 15 years is from Newbury. So but what I will tell you is, I like to pay down debt. Okay. I think that, everybody says, oh, debt's great. Debt is great, right? We're a debt driven society, but if you don't understand debt, and you're so used to having debt, you're a few bad decisions away from going under. Right. And so I would always tell you, like, conservatively, I would try to put stuff on a 15-year mortgage. I know in the UK, they don't even have 30-year mortgages. Right.
Yeah.
So I would put stuff on lower mortgages, and I would try to pay down debt, and I would try to buy houses for cash with flipping money. I would start becoming a flipper so that you understand construction, you understand value, you understand how to find deals. And then I would take the profits from those deals that I made and buy houses for cash or houses with low loans and start building a monopoly portfolio, right?
Yeah. So I was looking at Ryan Pineda, and
he's a good friend of mine.
Is he? Yeah. So my plan, so I'm only 17, right? So my plan was to save. I've saved a lot already. And then when I get my full-time job, keep saving. So I want to go into stockbroking. Keep saving. And then get to a point where in a year, I maybe do 2 flip deals. And then the third one, refinance it, get a tenant in. The next year, do it again. So I'm doing in 2 years, I'm doing 4 flips and keeping 2 for myself, and then just keep doing that until. Perfect. So I'm building wealth at one stage, and I'm also racking up my property portfolio as well.
It's brilliant.
Would you
That's
say
a smart one.
good?
Yeah, Harvey, that's the best way to do it. I call it buy two, keep one.
Yeah.
So I do, or buy three, keep one, right? You know, whatever.
Just keep one and buy one. And yeah.
Yep.
So would you say that's a good
100%. Yeah.
strategy to have? Yeah.
100%. You should do that strategy. It'll be good. You know, Ryan is somebody who is funny because I actually have way more properties. And he's so intelligent in a different world that I'm not even, so I'm new to social media. Right. And,
it's a lot.
And the reason I got into it was because of Ryan. And because I saw how much it just boosted his real estate success. He took off like a rocket ship. And I've been out here with a mallet and a hammer and just, you know, going. That social media takes off like a rocket ship, and then it allows you to, you know, a lot of people really want to know how to invest. They want to know what's a good deal. And a lot of times they just don't even want to take a risk on themselves. They want to join in a fund or something like that of other people. And so that's the reason I started this journey, is because I felt like, hey, we could help a lot of people get into investing. If they're not interested in investing, we can get them to be in, because people always want to invest with me, but I don't have anything to do it, right? I got to do one-offs, right? So
you clearly have the knowledge. You have so much knowledge, it's unbelievable. I spoke to you for 15 minutes, and one of them smart, like intelligent people I've ever spoke to.
Well, I appreciate that.
Congrats on that.
It's just
honestly, but social media is a great way for now, because you've got the knowledge. For me, I'm young, but what I'm doing is almost growing with my audience. So there's maybe nothing I can teach, but I can grow, because a lot of people may look at someone that's already successful and think I can't relate to them, but for me, they can almost grow with me and follow the steps I'm doing. So like talking to these people like you, right, I'm learning a lot, and then hopefully my audience does the same. But you have that big thing, and it's a lot of knowledge. So if you can master that social media, you have a huge potential, don't you?
Yeah, well, I think that like what you're doing is so smart, and that's the reason I was like, you know what, I'll meet with anybody as long as they're cool. Like I have a guy who wants to do one, and he wants me to fill out like this 19-page questionnaire, and I'm like, bro, like let's just get on and have a conversation, you know?
Yeah, of course.
But
no, it's been proper enjoyable, because most of the people that I've got a lot of interviews that I've not yet posted, and I feel like it's a lot of questions and answers, but I feel like this one has been more chatty, and it does feel a lot better, you know, like talking in that way.
Well, you know what, if you ever find a deal in the UK and it's close to King's Cross station over there in London, I'm your guy. Like, I want to own a property in London. Like, I'm serious about that. I'm not saying it just to tell you. I'm saying, like, not in where you're at. I'm talking London, like central London.
My family has a lot of, so my uncle does buy and then flips it. He's done it for like 2 years, and he's made £500,000 in 2 years.
Right, for sure. London is a fast market. I love London. It's a great market. And
then my dad, this house that we live in, he bought it for like 280, spent 70 on it. It's now worth 500, so £150,000 profit in a year, because he's a builder. So I'd honestly love to do that for you. Even just find the properties in London with my family. Obviously, it wouldn't just be me on my own, because my uncle's the deal finder, my dad's the builder, so I'll definitely stay in contact with you, 100%.
For sure, 100%, man. And listen, Ryan is one of the guys I would recommend that most people follow too, because like I listen, the reason I go and meet with so many people is I learn from guys like you. I learn from guys like him. I'm learning from everybody. And if I can share knowledge and help people grow, and other people are going to help me grow, like he's really helped me out with social media. I owe everything to him. He pushed me to get there. You know what I mean? So, and I believe I have helped him out a lot with real estate in terms of questions that he hasn't been through before, but he may pass me in that because of the way he's taken off. You know what I mean? He's a good guy. So anybody that we can talk to and share information with, if we're all rowing together, you know, it's way better. It's always way better.
I've just got a couple of more questions. I don't know how. Are you all right for time, or?
Yeah, I'm just sitting here with this guy right now. We're good.
I've got a German Shepherd, and she's in there. Yeah. So for you now, obviously you're like this real estate. You've passed the single houses. You've done that now. Would you say you're looking for more like the Grant Cardone apartments, the big hotels? Is that something you're looking to get into?
So I'm in big time transition mode, right? So like, it's kind of scary because I don't know what I'm into next, right? Like I know that I know what I need. And until I find it, I don't know which direction I'm headed, right? So I know I need a CEO because I'm at a point in my business where I shouldn't be the one running it, right? I need to hire somebody who's knows how to take companies public, somebody that knows how to look at my HRs, look at everything and say, you know what? Because I want to take my company to the stock market, right? So if I'm going to do that, I need to know somebody who's got an MBA, somebody who knows how to do that. And then they could tell me, hey, Troy, this is what you need to do next, right?
What company is that? Sorry, I didn't ask.
No, just my real estate holding company, because
is that classed as a business, or do you invest in so many deals that you can't run?
Yeah, so it is. Okay, so the way you want to set up a business, you have in the U.S., and I don't know how it is. We're based off English common law, so I would assume it's very similar.
Yeah, but it would be similar. Yeah.
Yeah. So in the U.S., in order to have a business, you can elect a bunch of different ways to do it, right? You can put it in your personal name, which is called a sole proprietorship, right?
Yeah, sole trader here, same thing, yeah.
You could do a partnership, which just means you're 2 sole proprietors or 3 sole proprietors or 4 sole proprietors. But those are the worst things that you ever want to do. So don't ever do those. Those are silly. What you want to do is you want to set up an LLC and you want to elect an S Corp status. S Corp status allows you to get the IRS's best tax rate as a real estate investor, and you're going to allow protection. So if somebody, God forbid, dies on your property and that property's headed in an LLC, the only thing they can attack is that property, not yourself personally. Yeah. And then what happens for me is I have a business that owns those assets, right?
Yeah. Well, smart way of doing it.
It's a little listen, it gets complicated. Like I said, as you grow, that's why people don't make it to like the Grant Cardone phase, because it gets more complicated. You need more people to help you.
Yeah. Because is that what you're trying to do then? Find the people to help you take that next step. Yeah.
Correct.
So I was looking at your. Yeah. Sorry.
No, I'm just trying to find a CEO. I'm trying to find someone who's smarter than me with other stuff, like when it comes to what Wall Street wants to see, with what, and he's going to come and look, hey, what's the best strategy for us to take my vision to where I want to go, right?
A lot of people don't understand that. When you say like smarter than me, someone would listen to this conversation and go, who's smarter than Troy? But it's smart in different areas, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that's the one thing I've learned about in life is like, whether it's a lawyer, I don't care if you're in the construction business, you don't have the plumber and the electrical generally do the same work. Generally, it's specialized, right? And so I have specialized knowledge. I'm smart with real estate, but if you get talking to me about other things, then I'm not going to be so smart, right? And so I'm I would say I'm pretty well versed in a lot of different things, but I'm very smart with real estate, and I'm not very smart with being a CEO and taking my company to Wall Street, because I've never done it. So
I looked on your TikTok, or it was your Instagram, or one of the two, and your recent video was you bought like a smaller house, with did you buy a small house recently? I think it's gone on mute again. Might just have to refresh it.
Can you hear me okay?
Back. Yeah.
I can't
Have
hear
you bought
you
a small
now,
house? Just refresh it.
Let me try.
Let me know if you can hear me.
Off mic, camera.
Can you hear me?
Cam mic.
Can you hear me now? Just skip to when he's back again. Because we're in different countries. So if you got to this point, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe, and then just skip to when Troy joins back.
Sorry.
Now. Can you hear me still?
Yeah, anytime my phone does something, luckily it hasn't been blowing up today. Like it just
resets. We're back on. So have you bought a small house recently, or was this a video I've watched a while ago?
I just did a couple TikToks yesterday. I just looked at 2 houses that I bought like a month ago. I just had them boarded up.
Yeah, it must be that. Yeah.
Yeah. I had
So
my
do you
son,
just, when you see a good deal, it's not like you go out looking for them, or is it when you come across them, or do people tell you about the deals? Like, how do you go about finding things now, as you're so big?
right. So that's the great thing. When you have been doing it for a long time, a lot of times they find you, right? But
Yeah,
if you're starting out, like on this one, I'll tell you, actually, this is a great one because if you've heard of driving for dollars, I talk about that in some of my videos and stuff like that. That's where you drive around looking for busted up houses, and then you send them a postcard, say, I'm interested in buying your property. Well, that's where that one came from. And the guy who called me had 28 properties,
really?
and he wanted to sell those too. And I said, okay, what do you want? And he's like, I want 60 for this one and 50 for that one. And I was like, well, how about 100 for both? You know what I mean? And he's like, okay. And I was like, I'll close on time. You won't have any problems. And I did. So now I'm telling him, I want the other 28 when you're ready,
So at the point you're at now, obviously you've got stupid amounts of money. Do you still, for these small deals?
I always keep low cash. I'll be honest with you. I don't have.
Yeah. I know what you mentioned it earlier, but these smaller deals, obviously they're not small, but these to you, do you pay for them all outright cash, or do you still get debt on these smaller deals?
The two I talked to about, it depends on what my strategy is. If I think I'm gonna hold it for 10 years, then I usually will try to buy no debt on it, right? If it's a small asset like 50 grand. But if I want to flip it like these 2 properties, then I'll put debt on it because I'll use construction money and stuff to keep me, and I'll like those 2 I took down with loans, right? So I use a company called Lending Home, and Lending Home is a national. They do every state except for one. They're a national hard money lender, and they'll finance for me they'll finance 90% of the purchase and 100% of the repair. So on that deal, I'm only going to be in it for 10 grand. So 10 grand, if I sell it, I make 50, 60, 70, $80,000 on it. For being in 10 grand, that's an 800% return, right?
Yeah. So for me, say I only have like £40,000 at the age of 21.
Right.
And I find a house and that I need to put £30,000 down on, and the repairs are going to cost me 30,000, so I need 20,000. Where would a hard money lender? Where would be the best place to get that 20,000?
Well, you'd want to use if you're going to use a hard money lender, you want to save your money, right? Like you want to say, okay, if you're using a hard money lender, you're trying to use it because you have a short period of time, right? The property you're going to own the property and sell it, right? Usually under 6 months, right? And so and less time is always better, right? Depending on what the rehab is. So I would say use a hard money lender when you're planning on A, you don't want to use any of your own capital, and B, you're going to flip it quickly, right? And otherwise the interest can be too much on you. I've lost money using hard money. My buddy borrowed at 20% one time. We ended up taking 6 months for the job that we thought was going to take 2. And I ended up cutting.
Sorry. If I did need that 20,000 and I was going to refinance it 8 months down the line, what would you recommend as the best option to get that 20,000?
Well, I'm going to recommend that you try to do stuff creatively and get outside the box. Like that's the way you're talking is 100% the way you can do it. But if you can find motivated sellers, and Ryan talks about this all the time, I talk about this all the time, you're going to get your best deals, right? Like I've bought houses for like 0 money down. I got a deal right now in Missouri where I paid the guy 0% interest. I call it a fixed payment. I don't say 0% interest. I say, I'm going to give you a fixed payment. They're like, what's the interest? We're not doing an interest. It's just fixed payment.
Yeah. So you're saying, just say if I had £40,000, do the best deals I can, find the best people I can to make sure that 40,000 works.
Here's the best advice I can give you. This is the best for anybody listening right now. The best advice is when you're talking to someone who's a motivated seller is to listen to what they want and what they need and what their plans are, and try to offer them something that meets their needs and your needs together. So for example, like if they say, you know what, yes, I want to sell the house, but I can't move the stuff in there. And I'm willing to work with you, but I just don't have any place to put the stuff. And you go, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and move the stuff for you. into your house for you, and you're just pricing that into your head as you're doing the deal, right? And you're like, and I'm going to do that for you, and whatever else I can do for you. Would you be willing to work with me on the terms of the deal if I gave you like $5,000 down, and then I moved your stuff for you, and then you know what I mean? And I pay you a fixed payment of $800 a month. If you can get into a deal like really, and if you listen to what people want, I bought a house from a lady. Her daughter died in the house. It was a very tragic moment for her. The house had about $70,000 worth of equity. She didn't want any money, but I was getting, because she didn't want to receive money on her daughter's death, right? And so her daughter died young, and so I said to her, I said, listen, and the boyfriend ended up going through the property and taking everything out after the daughter died. So it really pissed her off. And I said, you know what? I understand that it happened to you. I understand that was a bad situation for you, but I'm going to fix this property. I'm going to give you some money. And then you can remember your daughter not as her boyfriend stealing the appliances, this being a negative situation that gets foreclosed on. I'll go fix the property up. I'll give you some cash so you got some money. I'll pay for everything. And then you can remember your daughter's memory of somebody moving into their house versus someone foreclosing on it. And she's like, okay. And she came and met with me. And I tell the same people to everything. I said, if I do everything I say I'm going to do, will you give me a positive review? And if somebody ever calls you and asks about me, you'll tell them about your experience? And they say, yeah. And every time I do that, people just want you to be straightforward with them. Yeah. And if you're straightforward, you say, listen, I can't do that. I got a guy who sold me a house, and you're like this. He goes, well, it's really bad. You're not going to want to buy it. I go, well, how much do you want for it? He's like, 30 grand. I was like, I'll take it. He's like, well, you haven't even seen it yet. I was like, sir, if it's just a lot, I'll buy it. You know what I mean? And he's like, well, come meet with me. And so he goes, after he realizes I'm buying the property, he goes, okay, are you getting a good deal on this property? I said, sir, you gave me a fantastic deal. I didn't tell him, hey, I could sell this house right now for 100 grand more than you selling it to me, because that's just rubbing it in his face. Nobody does. That's not good manners, right? And he goes, well, what about me? And I said, sir, you're leaving some money on the table. He goes, thank you for your honesty. And then we did the deal. Yeah. I could have said like, well, you're doing the right. I just gave it to him straight, Yeah.
Well, this has been unbelievable. So for anyone doesn't know, you have your own YouTube channel. It's called, what's it called?
Troy Kearns channel. That's all my handles on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. If you subscribe, we've put out over 145 videos.
Right, it's gone mute again, but
are we
it's been
good
a pleasure.
now?
Oh yeah, it's all good. It's all good. No. Anyway, if you've got this far, you're honestly a legend. If he doesn't join back, then we'll wrap it up. But honestly, thanks everyone so much. If you've got to this far, you're a true legend. Always back is back.
All right. So sorry. So go to my YouTube channel, TikTok, Instagram. All of them are Troy Kearns channels. That's all across the board. And if they want to go to troykearnschannel.com, we have free contracts where they can get a free contract for whatever they need. If they got a question, all they got to do is comment on our videos. I reply to them all personally myself.
Yeah, honestly, you guys can see how much value this man will bring to you. So I'd 100% recommend checking it out. It's been a pleasure. Honestly, this has been one of my best interviews yet. So honestly, thanks a lot, Troy.
Harvey, thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me on. I wish you nothing but success. You're a very smart young man, and I think you're going to go big.
Let's get a deal done in London. Let's do it.
Let's do it, man. I love the UK. It's one of my favorite places.
Brilliant. I'll stay in contact. Thanks a lot, Troy.
All right, thanks, Harvey. Appreciate you.
Brilliant, man.